It was the beginning of summer. I was 18, school was out, and I had no job. Just endless days of video games, TV, and doing nothing. This was one of those nights. My parents were out of town, leaving me alone in the house. A common thing, and usually not a big deal. But this night was different. That night, it felt like the air itself carried a warning. It was late, probably around 11 or 12, when I heard it, a knock at the front door. The sound echoed through the silence, pulling me from the comforting haze of my favorite Netflix rerun. I paused the TV and got up, my heart already uneasy. Approaching the door, I looked through the peephole. Two men stood there, dressed similarly, waiting in the dim glow of the porch light. They called out, asking for my parents by name. My parents. But why? And why so late? Something felt off, and I chose to stay quiet, watching them silently. After a brief exchange, they walked off the porch. My heart pounded as I listened carefully for any sounds, any hint of their next move. It wasn't long before I heard footsteps again, this time moving around the house. I rushed to a back window just in time to see them entering through the backyard fence. Fear gripped me as I ducked away from sight, but the sound of their voices and the jiggling back door handle kept me frozen. They were trying to get in. I grabbed my phone and hid in the garage, dialing 911 with shaking hands. Then a loud pop echoed through the house, the sound of the back door giving way. I held my breath as their footsteps moved through the house, straight to the stairs. A door opened upstairs, then shut, leaving the house eerily silent. Minutes felt like hours until I finally saw the flashing red and blue lights of the police outside. The moment they entered, the silence upstairs broke into hurried footsteps and muffled arguing. Officers stormed the house, some heading upstairs, others finding me in the garage. I was escorted outside, trembling but safe. The men didn't resist arrest, but they stayed silent about their intentions. Even weeks later, I can't shake the feeling that they were waiting for my parents, waiting to do something far worse than a robbery. I've replayed that night in my mind countless times. What if I had answered the door? What if I had confronted them? Their behavior haunts me. They weren't just burglars. They were looking for my parents, and I can only wonder what might have happened if they'd found them, or me.